My name's Gareth, and welcome to Fat Pigeon Audio Reviews, where today we're taking a look at my first ELAC speaker. Now, this is the ELAC Salono BS283. It just rolls off the tongue. So the Salono, again, like I say, this is my first ELAC speaker. First one on the channel, first one I've actually ever heard as well. I know they've got a full range of the Unify and the Unify reference and the B5.2s and 6.2s and all that. I know they've got a whole range, big range of speakers. Now, this is the first actual ELAC I've had in the house and I've heard for myself. Now, I listened to these at Audio Lounge. Thank you to Audio Lounge Leicester, by the way. They've lent me another pair of speakers to put on the channel. And they're actually going to stock these now. They're actually stocking ELAC speakers. And this is the first sort of offerings within the shop that we can listen to. So I listened to these in the shop quickly before I brought them home to review them. Now, what I try and do is, I mean, I love speakers. I love audio equipment, as we all know. As we know, as I say in every single video I do. And I was super excited to get these home, to have a listen to them. And they've got a ribbon tweeter. Now, I'm a big fan of the ribbon tweeters. As most of you know, if you've seen my videos before, I absolutely fell in love with the BRXs, the Golden Ear BRXs, because of their ribbon tweeter. And these are no different. These are, let's get into the specs. Let's get into the specifications. So the specs. Jet 5 ribbon tweeter, handcrafted in Germany, right? That's what I found out online. Handcrafted ribbon tweeter from Germany. It's an AMT tweeter. So the frequency response on these, 41 hertz. They do get quite low. I actually thought it was lower than that, but 41 hertz to 50,000 hertz. 50,000. What? Anyway, you can't hear 50,000 hertz, don't get me wrong. The average human ear is about 15,000, I think, to 20,000. If I'm right, I think that's about right. Between 15 and 20,000. So you're not going to hear the 50,000 hertz that it can produce. But the fact that it does produce it says to me that they'll do that 20,000 hertz with absolute ease. And they really do. And it comes across from this tweeter what these are capable of. It's got a 150mm bass driver in it. Which is, I think, 6 inches. 150mm converted into inches is about 5.9 something inches. So 6 inch, it's got a 6-inch bass mid-range driver. For the impedance on these, they're actually a 4 ohm speaker. Now, I was looking through and trying to do my research, and they're 4 ohms across 85 decibels. Now, 4 ohms for a speaker of this size, I didn't sort of expect it. So they're a little bit harder to drive. But I did some digging and I did some research. And the optimal sort of amplification to run these speakers is somewhere between 70 and 100 watts. Now, that's optimum. That's getting your peak performance out of these speakers. Now, I've been running them on the SA10. It's a 50-watt amplifier. Now, it does go down in the specifications to 40 to 200 watts. So anywhere within that range of 40 to 200 watts, if that's what your amplifier is actually producing, then you'll run these. They'll be absolutely fine. It just takes that little bit more power. I have to turn mine up a little bit more to get the power that these sort of desired and to actually show that they came alive more. Now, they weigh 8 kilos. They're quite weighty for a bookshelf speaker. And again, they're quite compact. Now, it's got a down-firing bass port again, a bit like the Fine Audios. So it fires the bass downwards in 360 degrees, which is quite nice for placement. But I do have to pull these out quite a long way from my wall. Now, where I'm sitting now, this is just too close. If you've got bigger rooms, then these would be fine, I think. But just trying to tweak them, because I've got quite a lot of bass gain, a lot of room gain for the bass. But that, again, that could be to do with the downfiring bass port that's doing 360 degrees. Now, for the sound quality, I love the fact that it's got the 360 degrees. It just sort of splays out the bass for you. And the bass, like I said on this, they do get low on these. But I just had to pull them out a bit, just so they could breathe a little bit more, because of the room gain, like I say. Now, they've got really nice binding posts on them. The binding posts have got like little castellated tops on them, so you can actually get hold of them and tighten them up. And they've got a great little bridge on them that's like insulated within the middle. So there's no way that they can touch and cause any interference. They've got this rubber insulation around the back of them. And it's a nice solid. It's just a different way of doing it, I think. I've not seen it before with the insulated, the bridges on them. So again, they can't contact each other. I mean, I don't think most of them do anyway, but it's just a nicer touch for less interference. And it just seems really well built at the back. The whole speaker overall is a fantastic build quality. Now, as you can see, they're quite a compact speaker. Like I keep saying, they are very small for the sound that these can produce. They really are small for the sound that comes out. But they do them in gloss black and they do them in the white as well. Obviously, I've got them in the white here. But they've got the rounded off edges. I'll do some pan shots. They've got the rounded off edges, and it's just a normal rectangle, just a normal square box. Just to say, like I say, just curved around the edges. It's one of those speakers. I mean, I think they look fantastic, but I'm a big fan of white speakers. I always have been. I like my white audio stuff. And the fact that I've borrowed them in white does sort of help a little bit for the aesthetics in my room. So I do quite like the look of them. Now, for the sound quality, like I said, that's the specs. I mean, 50,000 hertz, 41 hertz. I mean, they get a lot. Like, 41 hertz is low. It's low. It's like an averagey type speaker. I mean, I think the Fine Audio 500s that I've got, they're about 40, 45. And they're lovely and they get low. I thought these were a bit more, but like I say, I don't know what's going on within this little box, but it sort of produces so much more bass in my room. Again, I had to bring them out more. I've actually put the isolation feet on the bottom as well to sort of tighten up the bass within this room. So if you like your bass, dance tracks, things like that, techno, you know, you like that sort of music, Jesus, do these pack a punch. Now, it's not a bloated bass by any means. It's a very controlled speaker, and it's got detail within the low-end frequencies. And I was quite happy with the actual control of the bass. And like I said, the detail from the bass. Just every now and again, it would just be a little bit too much on certain tracks. But that is just my room. That is just because I've sort of changed my room around. So I've got a listening chair and I've sort of put it in the corner. And this is the first set of speakers that gets quite low to sort of disrupt that. But as soon as you pull them out, let a bit more air around them, let them breathe, and they sound bass. The bass is sort of intoxicating. Like I said, I'm not a massive fan of bass. I never have been. I've never liked the low end boom, boom, boom on tracks. But these, the way that they sort of produce this bass, and it comes right out at you, but it's really low, and you can feel it in your chest. If you get this loud enough, which is actually entirely up to you how loud you go, you can really feel the impact of the bass within your chest. You're sitting there like, woo, for certain dance tracks, certain music. So again, if you like your bass, then definitely have a listen to these, because they're just so impactful with the bass. And again, they are detailed on the bass, on the lower frequencies. This ribbon tweeter. Now, in all my videos, I always say how I love my crispy highs. And these, at 50,000 hertz, these are super crispy, super precise. And the detail retrieval that these can pick out of a track, any track, Spotify, Tidal, on my vinyl with my 2M Blue cartridge, the detail that this can retrieve from those little tiny grooves with that little tiny needle is superb. And it's got that airy sparkle that I crave. And it sort of fills the room with this beautiful imaging and soundstage. Now, the imaging is very good, very central. And you can pick out different instruments and different people playing and singing. And you can sort of really narrow down. One's, the singer's up here and the guitars are down here, that sort of thing. And I'm a massive fan of the imaging. I toe them in a little bit on most speakers within this room to get that pinpoint imaging within the center. And these are super good. These are super nice. And like I say, you really can pick out. Oh, there's a singer, there's the guitarist. Oh my God, is that guy sitting down doing the bass and the low, because I like a cappella tracks as well. And you think, oh my God, that guy must be sitting down and this woman's standing up. And there's a guy over there, a little bit of the sound stage. You think, oh my God, it's really, really wide. It was really surprising, again, with the size of this speaker. I mean, look, it's the size of my head. It's not a big speaker. It's on a big bookshelf. It's a tiny little thing. And it's just... it's my first ELAC, and this is my first ELAC, and they are very impressive. If any of the I want to get some of the more affordable range, because these are about £1,500, £1,450, I think they are retailing at the minute at Audio Lounge Leicester. So around the £1,500 mark. With that bass, that super punchy, impactful, authoritative bass that these have. And again, I thought they were lower than 41 hertz. They just seem lower than 41 hertz to me. I'd have said probably like 35, 38, but specifications say 41, so fine. But because of that lower end bass, it adds to vocals, saxophones, strings, depth with the strings. It just adds that little bit. There's absolutely no way you need a sub with these puppies. But again, it's sort of, these speakers have been drawing me in, and it's one of those speakers that I've come back down to listen to over and over again and trying different tracks because of the tweeter. Ugh. But it's this neutral sound, like I said, that they're not adding anything. They are what they are, like a teenage boy. They are what they are, and they just do what they want. But like I say, if there is such a thing as a well-behaved teenager, this is it. This is the way that these come across. Like I said before, they're going to do what they want to do. They're not trying to be anything else. They're not trying to be somebody else. They just are ELAC Salonos. And I love that about them. They're, like I said, there's no added anything. It doesn't feel like they've added a little bit of a more bass response to them, and they're added to the lows. It's not like they've peaked and put a V shape in them with, oh, there's loads more bass, there's loads more. They're just linear, they're just flat, but they produce this beautiful, beautiful bass, and with the detail within that textured bass. The highs, again, like I say, from this tweeter with the mid-range, the vocals are throaty, and you sort of get this holographic, it's not quite holographic. It isn't fully like, whoa, it's all over the place. But it is a decent sound stage on these. Like I say, they're width, and you've got people singing over here, and you think, wow, what? Overall, like I say, with that neutral sort of linear sound, it's hard to explain when I mean linear. It's just a progressive. There's no big spikes and low lows being added to anything. It's just as they are. They are just them. They're just being themselves, if that makes sense. But they do it in such a way that the precision, like I say, that these ribbon tweeters can produce, and the detail is very good, yet still airy. And they're so fast to respond. They just keep up with everything I've thrown at them. I know I've said that before in other videos, but these are no exception. They do the exact same thing. They're constantly keeping up. They never fall behind. And it's still so impactful and in your chest. And I loved it. And again, I'm not a fan of bass, but I was listening to more and more dance tracks to see what sort of bass these could produce. But then when you put in the bass through them, and then the vocals come through on just tiny little synth type things, the details coming through on dance, it comes through on everything. Again, on the turntable, phenomenally good. The records are it was picking out that detail, that fine detail, so well. But it turns out I'm a massive ELAC fan, and I knew I was a ribbon fan. If you've not heard a ribbon tweeter, go and listen to them. Go and listen to a pair of these. They sort of just do something extra with that precision and with the detail that a soft dome isn't really doing for me at the moment. It's just astonishingly good. For the size of these speakers, I know I keep saying it, the sound that comes from these is just astonishingly good. It's like an explosion. You know, when you've seen these big explosions on TVs and movies, and that sound wave comes out, and it goes across the whole of the city, or goes across the whole of the village, or, this is all this dust and destroys stuff along the way. When this bass kicks in on certain dance tracks, on certain tracks, that's what I envisage in my mind. This boom, this wave, this sonic wave of sound just comes out at you. And if you look close enough, you can see cushions and stuff within your room moving because of this shock wave of sheer enjoyment from the bass that these can produce. So I tried these. I've got a surround sound system upstairs. I watch movies and stuff upstairs. My wife didn't want the surround sound system downstairs in the new house because it took up a lot of space with subs and stuff like that. So I put these upstairs, and I put on a couple of movies. I always use Transformers Dark Side of the Moon, because on Transformers Dark Side of the Moon, when that ship lands on the moon, it's about 5 or 10 minutes into the movie, the ship crash lands on the moon, and that gives you such a precise sort of, that's how I tune my sub in and tune my sort of surround sound system in, just from that sort of scene. So I put that scene on with these, and it was very satisfying. I mean, don't get me wrong, these are phenomenally good. I absolutely fell in love with these when it came to the sound quality for music, for my turntable, for Tidal. It just ran everything fantastically. And like I say, it picked out so much more detail than I expected it to. But again, it's a ribbon tweeter. So I'm not saying that these are rubbish for sound, for music. They're absolutely amazing. I love them. Absolutely love these speakers. But they're also, if you need a pair of speakers, if you've got an ARC set up on your amplifier and you listen to music through it and you listen through your TV through it, these are the ones to beat for me. Because the bass, the clarity, everything that comes out this ribbon and everything that comes out of this bass driver for surround sound, for movies, it's just phenomenally good. And again, you're still getting a bit of soundstage from them within the actual movies themselves. So if you need a speaker, like I said before, if you need a speaker that does both, take a look at these ELACs. Like I say, if you've got an amplifier with like an EARC on it, a HDMI that goes into the back of your amp, and you can use it for both, so you listen to your Tidal through it as well, and your Spotify or your CD player, and then you put it to your HDMI and you listen to your music, look no further than ELAC. Because I was very pleasantly surprised by these. Now, I'm going to wrap it up because I think I've done enough. I'm going to call it is a review. I've done that, you know. I normally put it down as a quick look because I've not really had them for that long. But because my kids are back at school now, I've had a lot more time to play with them, which is always good. Thank you so much for watching this video. I will put a sound test of these on. Of the 11 track, I think it's like 9 tracks now, because I keep getting copyright strikes for these royalty-free tracks that all of a sudden become, you know, non-royalty-free anymore. So there's about 9 tracks that I normally use, so you can actually test them against other speakers that I've put on there, so you can hear this ribbon for yourselves and for the bass response. And I'm actually going to put, I normally do now, I put a couple of 2 or 3 tracks, maybe 2 tracks, 3 tracks of real music as well. So you can, it's not just the copyright-friendly stuff, which isn't that well produced. I've got the best I can, but I'll put a few other tracks on. So I'll put real music on and I'll put the royalty-free music on. So you can compare and then listen to them with real good strings, guitars, dance, whatever else. So I will call it there. Thank you so much again for watching. Hit like, subscribe if you've made it to the end of the video. I mean, if you made it to the end of the video, you might as well subscribe and like, right? I've kept you entertained, maybe? I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. I'm tired. I've actually got a sore throat. I've taken a load of cold and flu pills today. I'm actually a bit sweaty, even though it's cold outside. It's like 14 degrees outside. I'm a bit. Ugh. Anyway, enough about me. Let's talk about you. How's it going? How's you? How are you within yourself? How are you? Okay, I'm going to go. And hopefully, fingers crossed, hopefully, I'll see you in the next one.